Hello and welcome to Triathlonology, a triathlon podcast by Animis racing team. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Jackie. We are a mum and son coaching team who have changed our lives through the sport of triathlon.
Our podcast aims to break down the mysteries of triathlon training and show you, the listener, how simple and flexible it can be so that it really does become part of your lifestyle and not just a hobby. Hello and welcome to another episode of Triathlonology, a podcast by Animis Racing Team.
I'm Coach Jackie.
And I'm Coach Oliver, and together we're a mum and son coaching team based in North Lincolnshire and South Yorkshire who dish out our no-nonsense, straightforward, my grandma could hit that with a stick of rhubarb, Yorkshire Triathlon advice.
True, especially me.
And if any readers know where that stick of rhubarb comments come from, please comment on that, because we might give you a prize if you can tell us who said that.
Yes. So what are we going to talk about this week, Oliver?
We're going to talk about swimming as a novice, or learning to swim.
Yeah. Well, not so much learning to swim like you would at school,
No.
breaststroke with...
Well, we could talk about that.
Yeah, with Mrs. Bull hitting you with a bamboo stick. No, we're talking about swimming front crawl so that you can do that in a triathlon. In a triathlon way, or as a skill.
You just want to do swimming and want to learn how to do front crawl.
Yeah.
We call it swimming for triathlon, but you could just swim for life with it, really, can't you? Or swim for your life with it, depending on where you end up.
The reason we have to say that is because we would not be allowed to do it in the local council pool because they are swimming lessons.
And we don't do swimming lessons, we coach people swimming for triathlon.
That's how we get around it.
Even though...
we coach swimming.
Yes, well, we teach people how to swim.
Yeah.
And more effectively.
Definitely.
In a shorter period of time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you don't have to do a triathlon through the way that we talk about it and the way that we coach it, but you could. You could just, do it for losing some weight and be able to swim front crawl.
Or do it for mental health.
Yeah, you could do it for, your own pleasure. You can do it to keep up with your kids in the pool if they're, when you go on holiday. You can do it if you want to go in the sea and you want to chase a wave. You can go and do that.
Yes.
So we try and provide, we do provide
an all-encompassing service.
Yes, a way that you can take swimming forward without having to make it all complicated.
Yeah, and buy loads of stuff. Because people
just buy two things.
Yeah, people want you to buy loads of stuff.
3 things.
Well, you've got to have trunks or a swimming costume.
4 things then. So yeah, I'm adding them up. This is why triathlon's expensive. We'll come on to the things you need to buy towards the end, or what we'd recommend you would buy towards the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, this is sort of sprung about because of a conversation I was having with a colleague in the office yesterday, where she is learning to swim front crawl so she can do a triathlon better and do more swimming better, in her words. And I said, oh, that's interesting. We also do this, which she didn't know because we were talking about going on our Portugal triathlon holidays in a couple of weeks' time. Place is still available. Get in touch if you want to book. Always be closing. And I was saying, we probably get people to do 25 metres by sometimes under week 3, sometimes under week 4, depending on how advanced they are,
and how
switched
much they
on,
listen and they want to do it.
And they're engaged and do their homework and what have you. But certainly by end of week 4, most people are doing 25 metres, if not all of them. And then we've got another 4 weeks to build their fitness up.
Yeah.
And she was saying that she's just about at week 4 and she's still on her back. And I don't understand why. And she couldn't really tell me either.
I've never heard of that.
I genuinely
don't know why you would be on your back.
Yeah.
Really don't.
No. Because we don't spend any time on our back, do we?
No, why would you? Because it's swimming front crawl.
We probably only spend 1 week out of our 8 where you're in a vertical plane rather than a horizontal plane.
Yeah.
And that's only because we're doing our patented hydro yoga techniques.
Yes.
Yeah, this is where I should appear with some sort of like schwammy clothes and a beard on, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
It's like a yogi.
Yeah.
But I can't grow a beard to save my life. This is a week's worth of effort. So
So, if anybody knows why you'd be on your back, let us know.
Let us know. So we've taught lots of different methods over the years.
Yeah, we have.
Before we've settled on the one that we like best,
And that works best.
which is total body force swimming, which works best. But even when we were doing swim smooth, I can't.
You never swam on your back. You never did anything on your back.
No.
You didn't.
No. So I don't. So even if which is like the British Triathlon way of swimming is swim smooth. So even if you were doing that, I don't know how you'd be on your back or how that's helping you to move forward with your arms. I mean, if nothing, I suppose you could be learning backstroke, but that's not really helping you with breathing underwater.
No.
And it's the breathing underwater that is everybody's problem.
It's the nemesis.
Without fail.
Because we get people who say, "Oh, I'm really good at. I can do this and I can do that, and I can like run for miles. I can bike for miles, and I'm dead fit, and I lift like 100 kilos in gym and all this sort of thing. But I can't swim 25 meters. No, because it's nothing like what you're doing.
No, it's a psychological game, swimming, as much as it is a physiological game, particularly if you're not used to swimming. It's only not a psychological game if you're a small child.
Yeah, because they don't mind, they don't care.
Well, they don't know.
They are not interested. All they want to do is to get that swimming lesson out of the way so they can get home, have the treat, because normally what I see at swimming baths when I go is that, they've all got like little treats for them, and you think, that's teaching bad habits, but who am I to know?
Like a dog.
Yeah, it's like, you can have your bag of mini eggs, and you think, why? But anyhow, that's me on a mum rant.
Not ruled by a slipper, ruled by mini eggs now.
Yes. Or you're doing as you're told.
Yes. But yeah, small children don't give any thought to doing it, they just do it. In the same way as they don't give any thought to running, they just do it.
Yeah, and once they've got the balance, they're off on the bikes.
Yeah, and they just do it. It's only adults who overthink everything because we've been taught to think about everything all our lives, and then you have to apply.
Well, you start school when you're 5.
Yeah, but there ain't much thinking, is there, when you're in reception in year 1?
Yeah, but
Finger painting.
Yeah, but you're being trained. You're being trained by adults to like take instructions.
Yeah, but it's not really until you get into secondary school that you start having to think about stuff, really.
Well, I think you're wrong there. These days, like, they have to do all sorts in juniors and that. But, so, no, you're being trained from being 5 to respect other people who know more than you, or allegedly know more than you, but you don't really.
Yeah, but they don't overthink about whether they're doing it right or not. They just listen and do it.
Oh, no, they just listen and do it.
They don't question it, which adults question everything.
That's what I mean. So, that's why we've been brought up to question stuff.
Yeah, but we shouldn't. There's some things you shouldn't question.
Well, no.
And just accept because it is. Like, swimming is possible and is easy if you just don't think about it.
Yeah, and that's what we try and get over to adults.
Yes.
And some adults are easier to get it over to than others.
I keep threatening that I will eventually get a T-shirt made with Bricktop from Snatch on it.
Yeah.
Where Bricktop says to his henchman, Errol,
"It can get you into a lot of trouble thinking, Errol. I shouldn't do so much of it." Right.
Thinking can get you into a lot of trouble, Errol. I shouldn't do so much of it.
I'll have to make you one of them T-shirts.
I'm going to have one of them for Learn to Swim, particularly if when we're going to do another one in April.
When we come back from Portugal.
Yes. His logic is entirely applicable to swimming because it is thinking that gets you into trouble. I mean, we see people who can't swim at all or are terrified of putting their head under the water. They're easier to fix because they've got no prior knowledge. It's people who've been through the sausage machine, as I call it, where they've done they've been
to council and they've learnt on their bit.
Yeah, they've done a bit of swim smooth. They've done a bit. What's that other one?
Effortless limit.
Total immersion. And then really all that is you just combined all your ideas in your head, sausage machined them, and then something has appeared at the end of it that bears no resemblance to any of those three things.
And they've read 220 magazine and they've looked at all articles, listened to all bits on YouTube.
Watched shads on YouTube
and you just think,
Instagram.
oh, come on.
And they've put it all together
And it's rubbish.
They've come out with I mean, if it were a cake, they put all these ingredients in, but it doesn't rise. It doesn't taste very nice.
No.
They've just ended up with it. And if they tried to make it again, they couldn't because they don't know which bits to put in and which bits to leave out.
That's a very good analogy, Oliver.
That's why I'm a lawyer. They are the most difficult people to fix.
Yes.
Because they have to give up what they know. And people don't necessarily like giving up what they know, do they?
No, they don't.
Is fixable anyway, and we've had lots of people who've been through that sausage machine and then retrained, and now they look like swimmers.
And we can tell our swimmers are from a mile off, can't
Well,
we?
yeah, you can, yeah. I mean, not that everybody swims in the same way, because it's the slight difference between men and women, but they have a good pull, and a good press, and a good and a good push, and they're moving along, and they're not using their legs.
And they've got a good head position.
So we spend the first sort of week, maybe week and a bit, getting people comfortable in the water.
Yeah, nice and relaxed.
And that involves doing breath work under the water and above the water.
Yeah.
So that they then end up feeling confident, or more confident than when they started, and comfortable at breathing out underwater, because that is the thing, that is the difference between every other sport on dry land and swimming, is that any sport that you do above sea level involves you breathing, which you have done without question since the first second of your life.
Yes.
And you don't even think about it, it just happens. And when you're talking, that's breathing. But
people don't get that, do
no,
they?
they don't. No, they look.
Sometimes
Sometimes they look at me when I say that, they're like, "We've got three heads."
You know, say, what are you talking about?
But that's how you talk, breathing.
Yeah, breathing.
Talking is breathing out.
So,
Yeah.
and that is for some people very difficult concept to get.
But once you've like got that in your head, that actually I can do this all the time, then the thing that freaks people out is they can't breathe out underwater, because all of their life, mostly, they have been told, if you fall in that water, you're going to drown. Fall in that water, you're going to drown. Keep away from that water.
There's a crocodile in it.
Well, your crocodile, like we're in our pond when we were little. There weren't a crocodile. We don't live in Australia. We lived in Thorpe Hesley. There couldn't have been a crocodile there.
But I've got a very imaginative husband.
It worked.
It did.
It kept our Thomas away from that pond for years.
It did, and he still goes on about it today.
Yeah. I will be deploying that with my children. Keep them away from pond at Endett Road.
Yeah.
But there is a subconscious fear built up about being in the water, because you are constantly told that you're going to drown. So when we say put your head under the water, people immediately panic and start thinking they're going to drown. But you can only drown underwater if you breathe in.
Yeah, not breathe out. Think about it.
So because it's breathing in underwater that drowns you. So if you're breathing out, that's fine. So that's another thing that people have got to get over.
Yeah.
And it's so once we've got them to be able to confidently breathe out underwater and make bubbles and look like, well, whether they want to look like a dragon or a lazy spar octop, whatever they want to imagine themselves as.
Yeah.
Once they've got over that, it's then a question of dealing with the next thing, which is, I can't get my breath. I've run out of breath after a bit. And they think it's because that they are not breathing in enough on the surface. But that's never the case. It's always that you are not breathing out enough under the water or on top of the water, wherever you're breathing it out. It should really be under the water, but when they're just starting, some of it's a bit on as you're coming out of it.
Yeah.
But it's the breathing out that makes you feel like you can't get a breath, because without going roll Richard Sennett, when you breathe out, or when you're doing exercise, or you're breathing out generally, then you're producing carbon dioxide in your lungs. Carbon dioxide, heavier than oxygen. So if you keep it in your lungs and you don't expel it all, and you try and take more oxygen in, you can't, because the carbon dioxide is trapped there.
And you're going to sink.
Well, you are going to like not be able to get a breath in, and you're going to get tired because your body can't process the oxygen to make your muscles work, to make your brain function.
Yeah.
And it's not because you can't get it in, it's because you're not getting the carbon dioxide out. So that is why we spend maybe the first 2 sessions really practicing breathing out, not necessarily breathing in.
Yeah.
And different ways that you can breathe out, be it in like horizontally or
Yeah.
vertically, and then horizontally, and then turning your head, that kind of thing, and checking your wing mirrors rather than your blind spots.
Yeah, because most adults can drive, and that you have to. One of the things that we find works best is if we can relate things to real life, with what they're used to doing and what they might have found difficult at the time.
So things like driving. People either get driving or not, but most people have a problem where they struggle at least initially in trying to find the bite point of the clutch. Now, if you are an American listener, you're going to have a clue what we're talking about because you don't drive stick. But in a Western European society that's not in America, we all learn to drive in a manual car with a manual transmission, and that means you have to get the bite point of the clutch.
Yeah, I call it clutch control, to be honest.
Yes, but you have to get that to be able to move your car forward, otherwise you stall.
Yeah, and you go like a kangaroo.
And it might take you a couple of lessons to be able to get...
I think sometimes it takes a lot longer than a couple of lessons.
Well, yes, it can take you quite some time to get that.
And make your dad very mad.
But once you've got it, you don't think about it again.
No.
You've just done it. And it's the same with breathing out underwater. It might take you a bit to get used to it, which is why we always give homework sessions to do between our actual coach sessions, and we can tell who does the homework and who doesn't.
Yeah.
But if you've done the homework, you'll progress faster. And once you've got it, and it's sort of clicked in your head about breathing out underwater, then you're away. That is the biggest block to people to being able to swim front crawl for triathlon, is the ability to breathe out underwater. And that is the easiest thing for us to solve, and we usually solve that within 3 weeks.
Yeah. And then it's a case of just building your fitness and just refining things.
And showing you our technique, which is not the same technique as everybody else would show you, or mess about with drills and...
Yeah, because one thing that we do know is that drills are for dentists, not for swimmers.
Or woodworkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas we don't do drills in our sessions. We certainly don't do them... Oh, no, we do drills in a fashion with our people who are learning to swim, because we are building up
the stages.
The parts of the...
It's like a process, isn't it? It's like you can't go to this bit unless you've done that bit.
Yeah.
And so that's...
In football, they talk about attacking phases, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, to get to a goal. Well, you've got to build your phases together to get a goal. It's the same.
Yeah.
So you put them all together, and but that is the last time we do drills.
Yeah.
Once you've got that, we then just swimming. And we then demonstrate people our total body force swimming technique, which is 3 movements. And we demonstrate how easy it is by having them close their eyes and do it.
Yeah, we're not going to tell these people, are we?
No, you have to come and experience the magic before we tell you what it is.
Because it is magic.
But they perform the movements with their eyes closed, and they almost always do it 100% from the off.
And that is one of the light bulb moments for them, when they realise that and think, oh, it can't be that hard.
Then the next step for them to overcome is to be able to translate that movement where they're doing it outside of the water to be able to do it in the water.
In the water.
Which might take another couple of weeks to get that nailed or nailed-ish in order for them to start moving forward properly. But then we will then do a number of weeks after the course where we can refine that, because all we need to do is get you to a point where we can do a session, and then we can build on it from there, because it is a longer than 8 weeks thing. But can I get you to swim within
8 weeks? We can.
100. I can get you to swim more than 25 metres. Well, can't we, if we're honest?
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, we've had people doing 1,000 metres, haven't we?
Depending on anywhere from sort of 500 to 1,000 metres by the time we get to the end, depending on how much they've done their own work and practiced.
Yeah, because just like teachers, we know when you've done your own work. It shows. And if we always say to people, if you come with an open mind and you listen and you do your homework, you will be able to swim in that 8 weeks without a shadow of a doubt.
And then from there, it's just a question of keeping people going and refining and moving the small things, so that head position, getting that, because people will relentlessly stare at the bottom of the pool, but I can tell you that the danger in a swimming pool is not on the black line at the bottom.
No, it's the person coming towards
or
you. Or
people coming towards you. Or the OAP breaststrokers or Zumbaers who are coming towards you.
Or the blinking walkers.
People who are doing laps in the pool around you. That's what you need to be watching at. So But also in open water, the threat is the other swimmers who are around you. And if you're just looking down at the bottom of the sea or the bottom of the lake, you're never going to see them.
No, you're not going to find buoy either to go around.
No, and also your head weighs half a stone. So if
Yeah.
you're looking down, then that's just pulling you down further. We correct your head position to make you more hydrodynamic and more safe in the water.
Because the other thing, I know we get you ready for lane swimming and what have you, but our main aim really is to be able to get you to swim in open water.
Yes, and the way that we coach swimming is designed for you to be able to swim
Safely.
in open water, whether it's the sea or whether it's a lake. It's designed to allow you to cope with or surfing. If you want to pick up surfing,
Yeah.
you can do it off that.
Yeah, yeah.
So the 4 things that you need to be able to do swimming for triathlon,
Swimming costume.
or trunks, or budgie smugglers, or whatever it is that you want to wear.
Women shouldn't be wearing bikinis, to be honest.
No, swimming costume.
Swimming costume's
because
better.
it's better for your hydrodynamics.
Exactly, Oliver.
But for men, it doesn't really matter, for obvious reasons. Number 2, a pull buoy.
Yes, and not just any pull buoy.
Well, no,
Exactly.
an any pull buoy. That was a brilliant pun.
It was a good pun.
A good pun. So you need any pull buoy, which we can source for you, or you can buy from any Jones directly in America.
They are the best pull buoys in the world.
Yes, and it is not cheating to swim with your pull buoy,
No, it is not.
particularly if you are going to do triathlon, because other than doing a sprint triathlon in a swimming pool, every single time that you do a swim outside, 98% of the time will be in a wetsuit.
Unless you're in corner and then you don't, then
But
this
then
is irrelevant.
Irrelevant, yeah, because you're good enough anyway at that point. But most people are hamburgers, aren't they?
Yeah,
Rather than fillet steak.
yeah.
Hamburgers are good enough; they'll get you there. And if you put a pull buoy in, you will be fine 98.9% of the time in
Yeah.
any race that you do,
Yeah,
because you will be wearing a wetsuit outside and you'll not be using your legs, or we get you to not use your legs.
yeah. Because it's all about your arm movements.
Arm dominant swimming makes you
Yes.
better. Number 3,
Paddles.
paddles. Now these are
Not
not
just any paddles.
no, ideally Malmsteen ones.
Yeah,
or
although we can supply some. We've
we
had
can.
some make
Yes,
some.
we have got a person who can make paddles to our design
Yeah,
in a 3D printer.
yeah.
Or if you can't get them or the Malmsteen ones, then the TYR.
What are they
I forget
called?
what they're called. There's some TYR ones that are
We can
reasonable.
put link in. We can put these links in show notes anyway, can't we?
Yes,
Oliver?
but you don't want dinner plates.
No.
Because they cheat in the water and give you a myth that you're
Yeah.
developing strength. What you want is one that's roughly about the size of your hand, or maybe only a tiny bit bigger, because
Yeah.
that's doing 2 things. That's directly creating extra strength in your swimming muscles and not relying on the paddle to create the strength.
Yeah.
And you are also then not overloading your
Shoulders.
with strain, which is the thing that people say, oh, you use a paddle buoy and paddles all the time, oh, you're knacking your shoulders up. Only if you're using the wrong paddles.
Yeah, and also it makes you take better strokes.
Yes, more often, which is
more
the whole
often,
name
which
of
is
the
what we
game.
want. Which is what we want you to do.
And number 4, what is the 4th thing that you should buy that will make your swimming better or more enjoyable?
Headphones.
A headset. 100%. You can get them in unbranded ones, and it used to just be Cross Trainer that did them, didn't they, from Aftershocks. But
Yeah.
there are now much more.
There's lots of actually quite a bit of choice, isn't there?
There's lots of different ones, and whether you want to pre-program them or whether you want to transmit it by radio wave like Zygo.
Yeah. Or even some Bluetooth ones, can't you? But you'd have
You
to
can't
get.
Bluetooth through the water, that's the problem.
Oh yeah, but no, I'm
Which is
sure.
why Zygo use radio waves.
Yeah.
You just transmit it from your phone via radio.
Yeah, but anyway, I think you're better off downloading your stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do get a Zygo one, then they also come with headphones, so your coach can talk to you under the water,
Yeah.
which would freak you out.
Yeah, it'd freak me out.
We're not even going down that road, are we?
No.
I'd rather wait. I can wait 25 metres to correct somebody.
Yeah.
It's what, a minute?
Yeah, and actually, you wouldn't. I think if somebody was shouting in your ears,
It's probably going to put you off.
I'd be like, I would drown.
You'd probably have a panic, particularly because you're not
Definitely.
expecting it. So
Yeah.
but, it's much easier just to walk up and down for 50 metres, wait, and then give somebody 2 minutes and then explain what you're
Yeah,
doing,
give them proper feedback.
rather than just telling them how they're swimming. in my view. But anyway, each to their own. So, in a nutshell, that is how we teach people to swim for triathlon. And at no point has anyone been on the back other than when they've got out at the end and they're tired.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm really tired.
But swimming should make you tired.
Yeah, because I often have to have a nanny nap when I've been.
But that is the only time you should be on your back while you're doing front crawl for triathlon or learning it. If you are interested in learning to swim just for learning to swim's sake, rather than with any ambition of doing a triathlon,
Because we don't, mate, yeah.
But
we
will get you to do one.
Because you just will.
Yeah, the environment will get you to do one eventually. But there's no requirement. You can just learn to swim.
All we want you to be able to do is to be able to swim 25 metres breaststroke.
Before you come.
Before you come.
And that's the last time that you'll ever do it.
Yeah. That's all we need you to do.
Yes.
So, but you've got to be honest.
Yeah. And
don't tell me you can do it and you can't.
Or you're not frightened of putting your head under the water, and you are, because it'll immediately become apparent and it just makes everybody's lives more difficult.
Yeah.
There's other things we can do if you're frightened of putting your head under the water, and it's not necessarily this course.
Yes.
If you would like to come, we've had people come from all over to do this, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
Like Chesterfield and all over the show to come and learn how to
Retford,
Hull, all over the place. Yeah. And they have all left a better swimmer than when they started. So.
And they all enjoy it.
So, if you are interested and you meet the criteria, that you're not terrified of putting your head under the water to the point where you're shaking, and you are happy swimming 25 metres breaststroke in the pool, then you can sign up to our Learn to Swim Front Crawl for Triathlon course in Crowell. Only ever coach a maximum of 8 people to do this at one time. So it is a small, intimate group.
Select.
With a WhatsApp group that's set up to keep you all going and encouraging each other. And the more you interact with each other and the more you meet up and do training and you do your stuff together virtually or otherwise,
the more successful you will be.
There is a direct line between people who engage and people who get the best results.
Yeah.
So, if you're interested, drop us a line. Happy to speak to you about a bit more. But until our next podcast, we'll see thee.
Thank you for joining us today.
See you next time.
See you then, or as we say in Yorkshire, see thee.